Scott from therecordingsolution.com. Today I wanted to shoot a quick tutorial on how to get a DI, direct in bass guitar, to sound more like a recorded amp, like you mic'd up the bass amp if you didn't mic up the bass amp on recording day, and then how to blend the two, the DI signal and then the duplicate signal that you made sound like an amp, how to blend them together in the mix, in the context of a mix, to get the bass guitar to cut through and be able to hear it. So here is my bass guitar. I got them all highlighted here. So this first one right here on the top is the DI guitar that we recorded that day. Let's play it for you. I need to turn it up. All right. And then on the DI guitar, just to make it sound a little bit less like a DI, we added some virtual mix rack from Slate Digital. This is just the virtual console collection. It runs it, this virtual channel right here runs it through the, like a virtual channel, and make it sound like analog. You don't have to have this, but this is just a standard EQ. And the only thing I've done on the DI is boosted a lot of mid-range right here, that 1.61, like a lot. So that's 11 dBs, and I'll explain all these moves in a second. And then I rolled off about 102 hertz, so pretty much all the low end. And the reason I'm rolling off all the low end on the DI is because I want the duplicate track, the bass guitar that I make sound like a real amp. That's going to occupy my low end of the bass guitar. So this track is going to be some special magic I'm going to tell you about in a second. So let's turn that on and listen to it. So before, after. So my goal with that is just to get the mid-range kind of finger, like the fret area, the grittiness of the bass, not so much of the low end. And then I compressed it just to kind of even out the performance. Not a lot of compression at all. I might even actually add more compression. And then I added a lot of distortion. Now this is going to sound nasty by itself, but you're mixing in context with the whole mix, which we'll bring in a second. So you can mix things to sound nasty, but once you put everything back in, all the rest of the instruments, it serves a purpose. So let's show you what we mean here. So here's the distortion on. All right, so that's the DI guitar. And then here is, I just duplicated it. So it's the same exact playlist or performance. Now, if you had a DI, you recorded a DI and you recorded an amp signal, one thing you need to check on is what they call phase. So if this was a DI and then a separate mic, a lot of times these two waveforms would be out of phase, meaning see how they start exactly at the same time? Well, if they're different signals, one might start a little earlier or later, and they would start at different times, so it could probably look like this. And then you would cancel out. So you see how this wave right here is going up and this wave is going down. You could kill your bass tone because they would just cancel each other out. So make sure that you're lining up these waveforms if you're using an actual DI signal and a mic signal. But we didn't do that, so I just duplicated the track. And then I added the virtual mix channel, the virtual channel again, to make it sound like it's going through like a Neve board. And then the only thing I did here was take out a little bit of 175 hertz. It was kind of, let me mute all this stuff. It was kind of, let's play it. turn that up for you. I was just kind of getting a little woofiness down there I didn't like, and I didn't take much out, just like 3-4 dB for bell notch out. And then I just rolled off a little bit more high pass filter, but only up to like 30 hertz, which is super low end that you can't even really hear, just to tighten it up a little bit. So that's all I have going on that EQ on this one right here. And then I added the virtual a virtual amp simulator. You can use any, this is GTR, I think Pro Tools comes with a SansAmp. You can use any stock virtual amp simulator that your DAW of choice has, or get this one, GTR. It's pretty good from Waves. And so let's turn that on. So before, still sounds like a DI, and this kind of beefs it up and gets that like really thick low end. I just set the Thunder bass setting, and then I messed around with the mid range, turned up the mid range and the treble, and got this sound. And then I felt that there was still more weirdness going down on like the 131 hertz area, so I pulled it out. Now, I was doing this all in the context of the mix. So all the music was playing, and I was fishing around. I like to boost like this, and then I drag it left and right until I find the sound that I don't like, and then I notch it out. So that's what I did. But right now we're going to focus on the bass. And then I just added a little bit more compression, sorry, to even out the performance. So all that off, this is what it sounded like. And then all of it on. So it sounds pretty good. Now, the goal is to mix them together. Now, this one sounded nasty, if you remember. But that's not going to be high up in the mix. So let's bring this back down to where it was. And then you're going to be able to hear the mix. I'm going to click everything on, the whole mix. You're going to be able to hear the bass with this channel muted, but it just wasn't cutting through like I wanted to. So since I rolled off all the low end, and then I boosted, I swept around and found a really like mid-range frequency in the bass where you hear the frets moving and the fingers area, just the real gritty area of the bass guitar. And I just boosted the crud out of it. And don't be afraid to make drastic moves if it sounds good. That's why what I like about this EQ. You're not looking at a graphic EQ where it shows you the boost and you get freaked out and you get scared. Like, I shouldn't boost that loud because I was told not to. Well, if it sounds good, do it, okay? There's no rules. And then that distortion is what's going to play in the factor here. So and another key thing is I have a stereo plugin that I have the mix in mono. When I EQ, I like to do things in mono, which means everything up the middle. You get rid of the stereo spectrum of your mix and you bounce everything in the middle, and then you can make better EQ moves and decisions that way. So I'm going to play the mix, a little section of it, and then I'm going to bring this bass guitar up. Especially right there, you can hear that slide. I want that to poke out a little bit more. So I'm gonna bring this up slowly. Let's loop that part. that, you can hear that. It's every bit of that slide. So let's mute that and hear what it sounds like before. And after. You hear how when I kick that DI with the really distorted signal and the rolled off and just the high mid area DI, that you kind of lose it. You kind of lose that bass guitar. So this kind of just adds a little more grit to it with that distortion, and you're just barely blending it in. So I'm gonna play it and then cut it on and off and just listen. Let's do this chorus. Actually, let's go to the end here. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. So this is in mono, and especially on that one part right there, you heard that bass slide. Let's play it right there and then mute it and unmute it, and let's listen to the difference. So that was on, here's off. It's pretty subtle, but it helps that bass guitar poke out just a little bit. So don't be afraid to make things sound nasty by themselves, because when you bring it in context with the mix, it sounds good. So that's one way to get a bass guitar to cut through. If you like what you saw today, grab the ebook, subscribe. You'll be on the email list where you get free training delivered straight to your inbox weekly. Be a follower of the Recording Solution. Hit like, comment. That's it. We'll see you next time. Thank you.